Musculoskeletal injuries are the injuries that affect the muscles, the tendons, the ligaments, the joints, and the discs in your back. And these are the sort of injuries that you don't really notice all at once. They're not the big painful injuries. They're kind of more the small nagging injuries, the ones that you start to feel you're tempted to kind of work through them because they don't really hurt that much. But you notice that the more you try and work through them, the more you try and work with them, the more they start to hurt over time. Musculoskeletal injuries can be quite expensive, both personally, when you look at the restriction in your own lifestyle, the things that you can't do from picking up your kids to going fishing, but also on the financial end of things for the operation. They can be some of the more expensive injuries as far as compensation goes. And we've seen cases where a case of shoulder tendonitis has cost in excess of $90,000 by the time you look at the person's medical costs, the costs of retraining somebody into their position, and then retraining them into work that they can handle down the road. There's three main areas that we look in as far as prevention. There's engineering controls, so taking a look at the actual workplace and saying what can we do to the equipment and tools to modify them to keep the person in a better posture, a posture that's going to be less stressful for them. There's administrative controls, so we look at, well, how do we schedule the work? What can we do to, if we know we have one stressful task, to then put somebody onto something that's a little less stressful for the body? And then the third is our own personal work style. So how can we use the body in a bit easier manner for it? So how can we use better postures? And also, how do we schedule our own work? So where do we take stretch and exercise breaks? Maybe it's before work, starting with a little bit of a stretch routine, just to go through a few stretches for the body, just to loosen it up, get it limber, get it ready to work. And then throughout the day, before you start to get to the point where you're feeling sore and tired. So the hamstrings are a good group of muscles to stretch and keep flexible. One of the best ways to stretch them is to put a foot up on something nice and low, not too high, and then rather than leaning forward, just stand up straight and arch your lower back a little bit, and you'll feel a nice even pull along the whole length of the hamstrings. So an excellent stretch for the lower back, especially if you have to work in a forward bent posture for any length of time, is just to stand with your feet about shoulder width apart and just arch the lower back and then bring it back to neutral. Just doing that a couple times after you've been in a forward bent posture can have an amazing effect in reversing the pressure within the discs. So when you've been working with the upper body a lot, the shoulders can develop a lot of tension just across them. So a nice stretch is to depress one shoulder and then just tilt the head away from it so you can feel a nice stretch going from your ear down to the tip of your shoulder. Really good in relieving tension across the shoulders and the upper back. It's important if you start to notice that you're getting sort of consistent soreness or discomfort at or around a joint that you report it to somebody and take care of it immediately. And taking care of it could be going to see your family physician, could be going to see your chiropractor, a physiotherapist, a kinesiologist. Any one of these people are well versed in what to do with these kind of injuries. But generally speaking, you want to try and avoid any movements that aggravate the injury, so where you can, give it a little bit of a break. And if it's something that's getting sore, really sore or uncomfortable, a little bit of ice on the affected area will help to keep the inflammation down, and some light stretching, just something to put a little tension on that area, just so the muscle remembers which way the tension goes on it. It helps to facilitate the healing process and also just make sure that you maintain your range of motion.
For more information on farm safety, visit www.cfa-fca.ca. And remember, farm safety means farm safely.